Over your years, you've seen a number of different systems implementations, and you've seen organisations go through restructures of their tax department and try and implement systems both sort of locally bottom up and then equally globally top down. And I know you mentioned a couple of those historically have had the challenges, and like many organisations have had issues in terms of trying to get people on board and embracing change. So tell us about some of your experiences in terms of global organisations and where you've seen software projects that have come undone, and the reasons behind that, and what do you think organisations can be doing to actually work around those challenges?
Yeah, I've seen it in two fronts, Jim. I've seen one try with spreadsheets, and I have to say that it was doomed from the start. The spreadsheet, and it was a bolt-on from another organisation. It was a one-size-sort-of-fit-all approach, where it was a case of here's the spreadsheet, fill all the information and send it back to us. Yeah. And it was like, wow.
Which is pretty typical.
Yeah, and it was extraordinary to think that you would have a bolt-on from somewhere else come in. Yeah. It doesn't work. It cannot work. I think you need to spend a lot of time initially, and preparing is probably the key. Mm-hmm. So I've seen where we've tried an implementation in terms of a global approach as well. Yep. I don't think that works either. Yep. The way that I see, I guess, if you're going to look at a global sort of platform, like anything, even like an accounting mainframe, is you've got to take baby steps. Yep. And typically I would start at looking at regions, and I would start with the easier sort of entities that are around and build your way up to the more difficult ones. Yep. The easier ones, you get the good wins, any issues come out, you can rectify very quickly. Yep. And I think that's the most imperative and important step as part of that process, as opposed to handing it all to everyone out and saying, here, do this, follow this guideline and you'll be fine. Yep. That approach is never going to work. You'll have too many questions coming back. Yep. You'll lose all the translation that you have in terms of some of the queries that come back. Yep. But at the same time, what you'll find as well is that people will then become disillusioned when it's not turned around in a good time. And you need to focus a lot as well on there. So that sort of one entity approach as you're going along in a region, I think is the best model, and certainly one that will take its time, and it's not something you can do in 3-6 months either. Yep. It's more in line with an 18-month project, and you've got to move around, and you've got to have dedicated resources, in particular, not internally but also externally as well. So the product that you're actually putting in place at that time has to have good support outside as well. And they also need to understand your business. And I've seen people, and I've heard the horror stories as well, that have come in where some advisors don't even understand the business, but yet they're telling you how to do things at the same time, or even understand your local laws and how they feed in. So it's a good approach by looking at it from a continuous improvement approach, as opposed to the big bang approach. Yep. And I've seen the big bang approach doesn't work. It just creates more problems, more headaches, and a lot more disillusionment.